The biological horrors behind Mexia supermarket. Okay, this is going to be interesting. I want to try something new here because this has been trending for some reason. This happened a while ago, but for some reason it's trending on TikTok. So I kind of want to let's watch this, you know? Like, it's pretty interesting. Apparently it's actually one of the worst supermarket incidents ever. Like, it was bad. So here we go. The video contains material not suitable for all ages.
The crime scene of a cold case, the site of many break-ins, and a biological horror festering within a small community.
So this is the live footage of the Mexia supermarket. Okay.
All three of these things can perfectly describe Mexia's supermarket. Here's the full story.
Doesn't look too bad, but why is it's so grainy, like it's so
3900 South Hemphill Street in South Fort Worth, Texas.
Okay.
This was the location of the Dallas-based supermarket called Daniel's Food Stores. The 36,000 square foot building seemingly opened in the 1980s, though it closed around 1997. This is most likely due to a disturbing incident that occurred on May 29, 1994. 18-year-old manager Eduardo Lopez was approached by a Hispanic gunman who demanded to see the safe. Eduardo, who had no choice.
Eduardo! If you guys watch my other channel, you would understand the joke. I'll give you a hint. He has very long hair and he rants about stuff on the internet. And he played a game called Eduardo.
I'll bury you. Not so tough.
That's really loud, Eduardo. And yeah.
into the office. He was then shot and killed, with the man hiding his body in the freezer. To this day, there doesn't seem to be any suspects, and not much information is publicly available online. The building would soon get new owners, being two unknown individuals that came to the United States from Laos. The name was changed to the Mexia Supermarket, with them receiving a $975,000 business loan from the Advanced Investment Corporation. It was supposed to be paid over the course of 15 years, but as you'll soon see, that never happened. The business officially opened sometime in late 1998, with their first taxable season being October of that year. The store struggled financially, as it was unable to make a profit despite the owners owing $1.14 million to various creditors. They eventually filed a Chapter 7 bankruptcy protection by September 28, 1999.
Okay.
The ownership of Mexia soon transferred to a bankruptcy trustee. The owners would flee the US following this, supposedly returning to Laos instead of staying and dealing with the financial mess they got themselves into.
Abandonment? Okay. So wait, they filed for bankruptcy, but they didn't clear the groceries out? Like they just file bankruptcy and just leave the country? And that's how the whole incident happened? Oh my god. Why would they leave rotten shit behind?
What should have happened from here is that the trustee would need to be solely responsible for disposing Mexia's inventory. However, this never happened due to a series of miscommunication errors.
Yeah.
Those owners simply locked up the store. Fort Worth's health department removed the store from its list of active food establishments, and the electricity was shut off. With the power now gone, the refrigerators turned off, and the food would soon spoil. While at the time it wasn't known what was going on inside, the effects on the outside were still devastating. By mid-October 1999, nearby residents began complaining of the smell, as it was so foul that it would cause headaches to anyone who walked near the store.
That is crazy. What the hell? Imagine you walk down your neighborhood and you smell this foul, like, odor, like this horrible scent coming from the supermarket that was abandoned. That means the owners must be immigrants? I didn't pay much attention to the first part of it, so I was like, why did they, what did they do? All I know was Eduardo got shot and killed, and then they filed for bankruptcy. I think because the business wasn't doing well. Okay.
A housekeeper who worked nearby said, "It is strong, especially when the wind is blowing.
Smell like dead animals."
I told my husband several times that something smelled awful.
Yeah.
Something smelled like dead animals. Then one day I walked over there, and there were flies all over it. It was gross.
So the fucking whole like store was just filled with flies and maggots? That is disgusting.
Complaints from locals, Fort Worth officials started an investigation. A
The
company
whole window was
called
filled
A
with
Plus
flies.
Budget Movers were hired to handle the situation, with them being told to start cleaning out the store on November 2nd. They declined to do so, as they felt this job was beyond their expertise. Yeah, that's how bad this was. Though apparently the smell wasn't bad enough for two teenage boys, who reportedly broke in on November 13th. They were found on the roof by—
What the hell? Two teens arrested at deserted What? What is this? The teens ages 14 and 18 fled from the building and were captured after a short foot chase. Okay, wait. Two teens were arrested after workers spotted them inside the grocery store at, okay, that's the address, which was declared a health hazard this week by the city health department. Wait, why were they in there? They were trying to steal stuff? Bro, the whole place was rotted. What? Why would you
Police,
go there?
after stealing various non-food items from inside,
Why?
police caught them after a short foot chase.
There's
with their
nothing
justification
good in
being that it was
there.
one of the boys' 18th birthday, and they wanted to do something unorthodox to celebrate. Neither had their names publicly revealed.
The worst
one
way
of them
to
being
celebrate
14.
an 18-year-old.
It turns out, though, that this wasn't the only.
That is the worst way to celebrate an 18-year-old. Why would you do that? That's like you turn 18 and you're an adult, and then you already start making crimes and stuff. That's nuts.
break-in, as police reports that were uncovered a year ago showed that a 55-year-old man was arrested as well.
Why
The man
was there
had
a
been
50?
dumpster diving
What?
in the area and managed to find a large quantity of cigarettes, batteries, and a 12-pack of beers. He had 2 outstanding local traffic warrants,
So going in the supermarket, like, you can't bear the stench?
justifying his arrest.
What the
There was
hell?
a third break-in reported, though not much details are known besides the suspect escaping through a fire exit.
Biohazard and cleanup. Okay.
Since the A-plus budget movers weren't able to do the cleanup, Fort Worth's Department of Environmental Management had to do it themselves. 2 officials, Brian Borner and Jimmy McClurg, assessed the store,
Jimmy
knowing that
Neutron?
many precautions were needed to even enter the building now. I mean, the outside of it was swarming of rats and cockroaches, not to
Ugh.
mention the repugnant smell that could be sensed from miles away. To combat this, barricades are put in place
Miles
around the
away
store
is
so that these pests
crazy.
couldn't invade the nearby community. This could have caused an outbreak due to how many diseases these creatures had. Pesticides are also sprayed around the building to
my
ensure
God.
this. Workers who entered Mexia's supermarket wore air filtering masks, hazmat suits, and oxygen tanks, and
That's
had
how
to be
bad it was,
decontaminated before
guys.
exiting the property.
Holy.
The workers came from Garner Environmental Services,
Straight up a crime
entering
scene.
the building on November 16th. They would have entered the day before, but they had to delay in order to test the air quality. Yeah, it was that bad, but it was even worse inside. Rat shit caked the floors.
Oh
There
my
were so many
God.
flies that if you laid out your hand, you couldn't even see it.
Wait, what?
Cake the floors. It was that bad, but it was even worse inside. Rat shit caked the floors. There were so many flies that if you laid out your hand, you couldn't even see it. Numerous insect species were crawling around, while others were dead and decomposing. One of the
Ugh.
workers of Garner Enterprises, Todd Johnson,
It was one of the worst smelling projects in my history. When rats die from the bacteria, you truly understand that it's a bad atmosphere and lethal for the workers. I mean, I'm not surprised. Flies have produced eggs that hatch into maggots. Yeah, I mean, I've heard that the whole window was like, you know how like there are so many bees on a beehive, like swarm of bees? Imagine that, but flies on a window. That's how bad it was, dude.
said, "It was one of the worst smelling projects in my history. When rats die from the bacteria, you truly understand that it's a bad atmosphere and lethal for the workers. The fruits and vegetables inside were rotting. The milk containers had exploded due to the high amount of lactic acid and other gases.
Exploded?
Packaged meat either seemed untouched or were
I
covered
could see the mold. Like, it's like even the shelves are becoming moldy.
in some sort of grayish-black goo.
What?
In an interview, Brian Borner said, "I've been in this business for 14 years. This is the first time I've ever heard of this. You think of what has been in there for 90 days. Produce, dairy, meats. It's kind of hard to comprehend. Much of this food is removed by hand, though shovels and front-end loaders had to be used for some of it. They'd be placed into hazardous material bags before being driven to the local landfill. Between the week of November 23rd to the 30th, cash registers, fixtures, and non-perishable
It's really
food
hard
items
to
were removed
see.
before the entire store was fumigated.
But that is
Initially,
the
it was
footage.
reported that this cleanup cost around $10,000 to $15,000. Though it was later reported
Wait,
on the
what?
Actually, it was reported that this cleanup cost around $10,000 to $15,000.
Okay, I guess for its time it was cheap, but if it was this year, this generation, oh my god, that's probably like worth maybe at least 50 grand.
Though it was later reported on the site,
Oh my
Cafeteria,
God.
that the Fort Worth City
I
Council
thought it would
said
be
it
way
cost over
more,
100
but 10 grand?
This
Not that
incident
bad.
remained obscure until 2010, and brief bits of footage were aired on television.
Lost footage. Okay, this is the most exciting
On
part.
January 26, 2010, the History Channel show Life After People aired an episode called The Last Supper. It, of course, talks about what would happen to our food supply if humanity were to die out. It uses the Mexia supermarket cleanup as a
Oh!
case topic. Not much footage is shown, though,
What the
maybe
hell?
only around a minute and a half's worth. This has led to many wondering what happened to the rest of the footage.
Oh,
and
that's
why it isn't readily
gross.
available online right now. There's rumors that some of the footage was shown on local news reports back in 1999, with one user on the site, Soulstrut, writing, "The images on the news is what gave me bad dreams. Windows blackened by millions of roaches, rats, and swarms. Also, what fucked me up was footage of people breaking in and stealing food even after all this time. Imagine walking through a place like that for some canned goods. The smell had to be apocalyptic.
Yeah.
2-month-old fish, 2-month-old carrots, pork, thousands upon thousands of rat droppings. I was obsessed with the story, hence why I dreamed about it, being in there." Friend of the channel Gubby covered this topic in August 2023, leading to Lost Media Wiki user Benjamin McHale doing his own investigation. He watched the credits of the Life After People episode, and noticed that the footage was provided by the Environmental Management Department of the City of Fort Worth. McHale got in contact with Anthony Williams, their current supervisor. He was unable to find any additional footage, though did say that the footage shown on TV was recorded by Jimmy McClurg. Sadly, McClurg has since passed away. He then contacted the Special Collections at North Texas University, who were able to confirm when
I'm
the
just
footage was
so
taken.
mind-boggled by
the footage,
the
but could not
lost
provide a digital
footage.
copy upon request.
That is disgusting.
They
Look at the
suggested contacting
cucumber.
other North Texas archives for a
Oh!
copy.
What is
And
that,
McHale ended up
oranges?
contacting Brian Borner instead.
Apples? Peaches?
Brian said that the film was recorded by a home VHS camera, but is now considerably deteriorated. This is why only brief bits
Oh
of
my
footage were shown
God,
on
it's
Life
like
After
what?
People, as much of the footage is damaged. Borner says that the original copy must be missing.
How did you guys even lose the footage? How? Was recording back then that difficult? Like the VHS tapes? Like, I would never understand that, like, people filming and then somehow they lost the footage. It gets corrupted, it gets destroyed. Just how do you even put yourself in that situation? How do you even make that happen?
In early 2024, McHale got in contact with Ron Jenkins, a photographer who had taken photos during the cleanup. He pointed in the direction of the Southwest Collection at UTA, which is where these photos were held. Another Lost Media Wiki user named Nicolette Astor managed to find them.
Current day? Okay.
As of now, no additional footage has been located, though there's still hope. Someone out there must have it, but many of the leads are dead. The supermarket itself was eventually redone, with it now being a Dollar General. This is
I am still not going there. Hell no.
taught the city of Fort Worth a lesson. Hold people accountable.
Even
The
you
owners
guys
who fled to
changed
Laos
the
should have
store
helped in ensuring
completely.
the store
I
was
am not
cleaned
going
up.
there.
The health department should have checked up on the location regularly, and this food should not have been wasted. Jan Pruitt,
Yeah, what
the
a
executive
waste
for
of
the North
food,
Texas
man.
Food Bank, stated, "That made us all sick."
You know what makes no sense to me is when people, like hospitals, asylums, even supermarkets, how does that shit get abandoned so quick? Like, does the government not do anything? I know some certain companies are licensed underneath the government. Like, you must have some form of license or some form of verification that this company is active and running the business, because, you know, business income taxes, or, you know, you have to pay rent, pay your employees, you know, how many employees are in the company. So the government just let this happen? What the hell? I'm starting to think the owners are like immigrants or something. Like, they weren't caught at all. Like, they just left the country and... Yep, that's it. They just left the country. It's like, yeah, if you do this in this day and age, the government will not let that slide. They will find the shit out of you. They'll probably find you like 20 grand, 30 grand, 40 grand.
All that food wasted, and it could have been saved with just one phone call. It doesn't matter which food bank you call anybody.
Don't waste
Different
food,
parties
man.
are playing the blame game, leading to the city having to shell out over 100 grand. Not only that, but an outbreak could have occurred, especially with all the different people attempting to break in. Maybe if there's any updates to the story, I'll let you know. Stay tuned for more Lost Media content eventually. I have a big one coming out in May.
Look at the
See ya.
meat. It's like gone. Like completely gone. Well, that was a good... Wait, why is it so... Oh! The hell was that? Alright, well, that was Mexia supermarket incident. I am a bit scared. How did this even happen? Like, when you file for bankruptcy, the government should come over and be like, okay, you file bankruptcy, let's take this building down or revamp it, or, you know, give it to a new owners or something. No, that whole supermarket was abandoned for months. How? The supermarket was abandoned for like so long, and then people are just, they just look at the supermarket and be like, yeah, it's abandoned. No need to worry, you know, what could possibly go wrong?